What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing well. Now today I've got for you a couple of fantastic entitled parent stories, starting off with this one, in which an entitled Karen calls the police on an autistic boy for literally no reason at all. Before we do get into this one though, guys, do me a little favor. If you are new to the channel, make sure you're subscribed if you do go on to enjoy this video. And if you're just an old viewer, like the video, comment down below that you're having a great day, because I really hope you are. And without further ado, let's get into the story. Peeping Tom entitled Mum calls the cops on my autistic brother. This happened about 3 years ago. My little brother and I were both in our early 20s at the time, both living at home with my mum and dad. The way our house is set up is that the second floor has 2 windows facing the street. The one to the left is my bedroom, and to the right is my brother's bedroom. Our house is on one long straight street that curves into another and is broken up into other side streets. Our house happens to be at the intersection of the last side street before it starts to curve into the other. At this intersection, there is a bus stop for the local public schools, the very one I took throughout my school career, which was nice, since I could just walk out the front door and be at my bus stop in 10 seconds. Although the bus stop is close to my house, you have to turn around and directly be staring at my house to see anything. You might have some luck with our living room windows, but my mum keeps those closed pretty much all the time because of the dogs liking to bark at everything. My bedroom blinds were permanently closed, but my brother likes his open. This was also around the holidays, and my parents are decorating nuts, so there was one of those big LED lights in the shape of a bell on his window, obscuring the view even more. So, his window is further away, and you really have to crane your neck to see it, and you're not going to see that much. So then, I wake up around 8 AM because the dogs are barking after somebody knocks on the door. I peek out my blinds and see a cop car. I think the worst, so I rush downstairs and see my mum out talking to a cop. She comes in livid and then tells me what's happened. Apparently, one of the mums that waits at the bus stop with her kids, elementary school age, saw my brother in his window and thought he was perving on the kids. So she called the cops and said a whole group of parents were concerned. She actually thought it was my dad, according to the police officer, and reported him as being in his underwear. My brother has sensory issues because of his autism and doesn't wear a shirt, but wears pajama pants. This is what he was wearing when the cops were called. And funnily enough, we tested it out. From the bus stop view of him in his window, you could only see him from right at the nipple line, for lack of a better term. You'd see worse in the summertime with a guy mowing his lawn or at the pool. And my brother, as his big sister who knows him, was not watching the kids. He was almost certainly pacing around his room and stimming. If he did look, it was a quick glance. He's not a starer. Now, my poor baby brother thought he was going to jail. The cop was really trashy too, and told my mum to put up curtains, because apparently walking around shirtless in your own home is illegal. And did I mention it was in the morning and my brother didn't even have lights on in his room? This entitled mum must have been really staring at him to figure out that he was apparently and incorrectly wearing underwear. But whoever this mum was that called messed with the wrong person. My mum can be nuts when one of her kids gets messed with. It's great. She ended up posting about the situation on a big local news group, and people were livid on behalf of my brother. Some bikers offered to sit on our front porch shirtless with some beers in solidarity. My mum actually narrowed it down to 2 of the mums on that side street as well, and found out both of them were in the group and were probably seeing how people were reacting to them calling the cops and getting torn apart. Someone told my mum on the post to talk to the mums the next day at the bus stop, and my mum was going to do it and explain. But the next day, none of the kids showed up at the stop. It pretty much confirmed that the entitled mum had seen the post and was embarrassed, as she should have been. And then, from that point on, the mums just waited in their cars with the kids until the last possible second, then dropped them off at the bus stop. If the entitled mum had just come to our door, she would have seen the sticker we have, alerting in case of an emergency that someone with autism lives here. She could have put 2 and 2 together. She could have looked at my dad's work truck and seen the autism awareness magnets. She could have just kindly asked my mum, She could have just turned and faced the correct direction and stopped straining her neck to stare at my brother in his second floor window behind a Christmas decoration. But no, she immediately decides it's my dad in his underwear because men are only shirtless if they are in underwear. And oh no, shirtless man when my kids are present means paedophile. Call the cops quick. Yeah, as you can tell, I'm still kind of mad. I'm glad she got publicly torn apart, even though no one knew it was her specifically. Okay, quite a lot to unpack in this story, but I want to start with this. First of all, you're allowed to be shirtless in your own home. You're allowed to even be naked in your own home. Obviously, don't go up to your windows and just be naked and show it all off unless that's something that you really enjoy doing. But I'm pretty sure legally, in your own home, you can wear whatever you want. And if you want to wear nothing, that's cool with me. Second of all, let's talk about this Karen, this entitled mum, because honestly, multiple things she's done here are just sickening. Primarily, instantly calling the cops without just knocking on the door, as OP said, and just, asking, being polite, saying there's a naked person or whatever they thought, please can they just, not be right at the window, or just, say your concerns to the person before calling the police. Don't just jump to calling the police. That's pretty much what I mean. That would be one thing. Second of all, blatantly lying and saying that, OP's brother was wearing underwear when how can you possibly know? You physically can't see. And also, if they're in a second story, building in their room upstairs, you're not going to be able to even see any of that. You're just guessing. You're just lying for no real reason. I don't really understand why. And then finally, it's so obvious that she knew she was wrong in doing this all in the first place, because if she thought she was right, she wouldn't then not go to that bus stop with her kid anymore. She wouldn't sit in her car cowering, not even admitting her mistake, would she? She'd just continue on as she thought was right. She knows that she was in the wrong here, as shown by the fact that she didn't even want to show her face anymore at that bus stop, or at least for as little time as possible. So it just proves that she is a horrible, horrible person. Now moving on to our second story. Entitled mother tries to change my English accent. As a little bit of background, I'm from a rural area in Catalonia, Spain. Now, why is that important? Because my native languages are Catalan and Spanish, but until I was 18 years old, I barely used Spanish outside of school. So my Spanish accent is, let's say, weird. Now, knowing that, imagine my English accent. It's not that I don't want to do better, it's just that I can't. But still, I can talk to people and they will pretty much understand me. Now, I used to work as a waiter in a fancy but pretty much always empty restaurant in my town. We used to have clients from all over, and I was the only one who could speak enough English, so I'd be the one taking their orders. I was quite happy to do that because I got to practice and most of the people were great. I had 10 German customers once tip me €5 each and tell me to keep it for myself. My boss agreed when I told him because they were happy with me. And the best thing, they waited for my shift to end and asked me if I wanted to join them. They were awesome. But one day, an entitled mum shows up with her son. I guess he was around 16 or so. She was the stereotypical American black woman. Her way of talking, her gestures, I thought it was hilarious. Since the beginning, when she heard me talk, she put on a weird face. But anyway, I tried my best. Then, after a while of talking, she said to me, "Excuse me, could you speak better English? Your English is weirding my son out." Her nice kid said, "Mum, please," and then looked at me, "I'm sorry or not," then looked back at her, "Let him do his job." "I'm sorry, Mum, but that is my English. I would need to practice a lot to improve my accent." "But you have to be better so you can talk to us." "Excuse me? I'm sorry, I don't have a better accent, but I'm trying my best." And the moment everyone was waiting for, "Let me speak to your manager." So I did, knowing the poor dude wouldn't understand half of what she said. My boss came over. "Can I help you?" "Your employee won't speak better English to us." My boss looked at me confused, and I translated for him. "What are you doing? What are you telling him?" My boss then said, "I can't help you, sorry. He has the best English. I'll leave you with him, sorry." Then he told me that if she continued like this, to let her write a complaint and let her leave. He just went back to the kitchen. "Where is he going? Why is he leaving? What did you tell him? You just needed to speak better English and this wouldn't have happened." "Lady, I told you, I can't speak better English." "I demand you speak better English." At this point, I'm annoyed. Lady, I told you, I can't speak better English, and now I need you to leave. Her nice kid actually laughed a little bit, and then the entitled mum grabbed her things and her son and left, yelling not very nice things, that she wasn't paying, that she'd sue us, and blah blah blah. Nothing ever happened. And that was it. My boss never cared about what happened, we got to eat what we didn't serve them, and we had an anecdote to tell the other waiters. Fun fact, something similar happened a couple of days afterwards with a French couple who wanted us to speak French when nobody in the restaurant spoke French, and they didn't even know a single word of English. They ended up leaving a bad review on the Spanish page in French. Alright, not gonna lie guys, this story actually really annoyed me. This woman just gets on my nerves, man. And I'll explain why, don't worry. So, some of you may know that I studied Spanish for, about 7 years in my secondary school, and then a couple of years at university as well, and I'm still not amazing at speaking it. I'm not completely fluent, my vocabulary is not as good as I'd like it to be. I have a long way to go if I wanted to be, a fluent native speaker. So, the fact that OP, the waiter, can even speak a little bit of English, in my opinion, is an amazing thing. It's just great that you can even speak a little bit of English in the first place and interact with customers like this woman. I mean, think about it, guys. Say you watching right now go to, I don't know, let's say France. Do you know how to speak fluent French? Would you know how to speak to a French person in France in French? The answer is probably no. Personally, I know that English people are horrible at learning other languages. The vast majority of English people only have one language that they can speak, and that is English, and they don't even know any real conversation from other languages, apart from just maybe a few basic words that you'd use when you go on holiday. So whenever I see someone from another language who can speak perfect English, or whenever I go to another country and, I can't speak that language, but that person in their own country can speak English to me, I'm really impressed. I'm actually, quite embarrassed that they are having to speak English to me in their own country and I know none of their language. It is quite embarrassing. So for this entitled mum to come into this restaurant and say, what, your English skills are so bad, when the person isn't even English, and that woman knows no Spanish, by the way, clearly, that is just, it's just so embarrassing and it's so uncalled for. Just, have some common sense. Put yourself in their position. They're speaking their second language to you, doing well, and you're just abusing them for it. I think it's pretty horrible, in my opinion, guys. Guys, if any of you watching right now do speak a second language or even are, multilingual, please do comment down below because I rate you for that. Learning a language is a very tough skill, as I can attest to, and if you've mastered more than one, I'm impressed by you and I want to be your mate, so comment down below. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for this one. Really hope you have enjoyed it. If you do want more from me right away, I've actually got a couple of other videos about learning other languages and Karen's getting annoyed at people not being able to speak their language on screen right now if you want more of the same. If you are new around here, as I said, hit this button, subscribe to my channel, turn notifications on so you get notified tomorrow when I post a new video. Same time, same place. See you all there.